Human nature is not what you think it is. You've been told it's kind, generous, and cooperative, but beneath the surface lies something far more ruthless, far more dangerous, and far more powerful if you dare to use it. Today, we are going to uncover the dangerous truth about human nature, and more importantly, how to weaponize it. If you've ever wondered why some people rise to power while others remain forgotten, this is the problem we are solving. Not how to be good, but how to be effective in a world ruled by hidden instincts, manipulation, and unspoken laws of survival. Human nature is not what you've been told. From the moment you were born, you were fed illusions about kindness, fairness, and morality. Teachers, leaders, and parents dressed the world in comforting lies so you would obey without question. But beneath that disguise, the truth is far darker and far more useful if you dare to confront it. Humanity is not guided by virtue. It is guided by fear, envy, and desire. Those who understand this rise. Those who do not remain pawns in a game they never knew was being played. Consider what it means to be different. Most people cling to the herd because they fear isolation. They imitate, they conform, they drown in the noise of the majority. But the one who dares to stand apart commands attention, whether loved or hated. Being different is dangerous, yes, but it is also unforgettable. In a world of sameness, the rare becomes powerful, and memory becomes the first step toward influence. Power also belongs to those who know when to walk away. The weak are chained to approval, trapped by attachment, desperate for acceptance. But the man who can walk away without hesitation owns the room. When you need nothing, you cannot be controlled. Your silence is heavier than their words, your absence stronger than their presence. The ability to leave is the purest form of leverage. There is also strength in solitude. Most fear being alone because it strips them of distraction and exposes their weakness. Yet solitude is where vision sharpens. It is where strategy is born. The crowd intoxicates you with comfort, but comfort dulls your blade. Alone, you discover who you are, and once you master yourself, no one can master you. Patience, too, is a weapon most will never wield. The impulsive reveal themselves through their eagerness, their desperate hunger to act. The cunning know the value of waiting, to delay, to observe, to calculate. It is not weakness but control. Time becomes your accomplice. While others strike blindly, you strike with precision, and the wound you deliver cannot be undone. There is a hidden trait that grants an unfair edge over all others, the ability to see reality as it is. Not as you want it to be, not as it is dressed up by morality or wishful thinking, but in its raw, unfiltered truth. Most people cling to illusions because they are comforting, but illusions breed mistakes. To see through deception, to anticipate betrayal, to read the instincts that govern human behavior. This is the true mark of power, and this leads us to the dangerous truth. Human nature is not noble. It is selfish, restless, and hungry. Deny it, and you will be devoured. Understand it, and you will hold the strings others dance upon. They tell you to be kind, to be patient, to follow the rules. Yet the ones who rise, the ones who dominate, play by very different laws. Today, we will uncover the dangerous truth about human nature. Not the comforting version, but the raw one. Because until you understand it, you will always be controlled by it. Human beings are not what they pretend to be. They wear masks of virtue, but underneath they are driven by fear, envy, and desire. This is not something to mourn, it is something to master. For the man who understands human nature is never surprised, never betrayed, and never powerless. He sees the world as it is, and because of this, he bends it to his will. In a world where most obey the herd, being different is dangerous, but it is also the root of all greatness. The masses cling to sameness because they fear rejection. They would rather dissolve into the crowd than risk being noticed. Yet the one who dares to stand apart, who embraces different, Instead of hiding it, becomes unforgettable. To be different is to break the pattern, and the human mind cannot ignore what breaks the pattern. Whether they love you or hate you does not matter. What matters is that they cannot ignore you, and in memory lies the seed of influence, and in influence lies the beginning of power. Most people spend their entire lives trying to blend in. They imitate the way others speak, the way others dress, the way others think. Why? Because deep inside they fear rejection more than they fear death itself. To stand apart from the herd feels dangerous, almost unbearable. But here lies the paradox. The very thing most avoid is the very thing that creates power. Difference is not a weakness. Difference is the foundation of influence. Look at history. The people remembered are rarely those who followed the rules. They are the ones who broke them, the ones who refused to move with the current. While the crowd sought safety in numbers, the few who dared to be different etched their names into memory. The crowd has no face. The crowd is forgotten, but the one who stands apart cannot be erased. Human psychology itself is wired to notice difference. Our minds scan for patterns, and anything that breaks that pattern instantly commands attention. Think about it. In a room filled with silence, the one who speaks captures every eye. In a crowd of conformity, the one who dares to think differently becomes unforgettable. Whether you are admired or despised does not matter. What matters is that you are noticed, that you linger in the minds of others long after the moment has passed. This is the hidden power most never tap into, because they are paralyzed by the fear of judgment. But judgment is unavoidable. Even if you conform, they will still judge you. Even if you obey, they will still find fault. So if you must be judged, why not be judged for something unforgettable? Why not be judged for being different, for daring to do what others are too timid to attempt? Difference commands attention, and attention is the currency of power. Once you are noticed, once you are etched into memory, the doors of influence begin to open. People cannot follow what they cannot see. People cannot obey what they cannot remember. To be different is to be remembered, and to be remembered is the first step to ruling over those who are forgotten. Power is never in the hands of the one who clings the tightest. Power belongs to the one who can let go without fear. Think about it. The moment someone knows you cannot walk away, they own you. The moment they sense your desperation, you become their pawn. But the one who can leave without hesitation becomes untouchable. Dependency is the most common form of weakness. Most people chain themselves to relationships, to jobs, to approval, to comfort, believing these things give them strength. But in truth, what you depend on owns you. The powerful understand the opposite. Freedom comes from detachment. Walking away is not loss, it is leverage. It tells the world you are not desperate, that you cannot be controlled, that you will not kneel for scraps of validation. The one who can walk away carries an invisible weapon in every negotiation, every argument, every alliance. And that weapon is fear. The fear you instill in others when they realize you do not need them, but they need you. Nothing reveals true power faster than the ability to walk away. The moment someone realizes you cannot leave, they own you. They know they can bend you, pressure you, take more than they give, because your fear of losing them has already enslaved you. This is why most people live their lives under invisible chains, tied to jobs they despise, relationships that drain them, and approval that never comes. They convince themselves they are strong because they hold on, but holding on is not strength. It is desperation disguised as loyalty. The powerful understand something different. To walk away is not weakness. It is the purest form of control. When you can step back without fear, you declare silently that you do not depend on anyone, that you do not beg, that you cannot be broken by absence. It is not the loud demand that commands respect, but the quiet confidence of one who does not need to stay. Detachment frightens people because they know they cannot use your need against you. They cannot bribe you with comfort or trap you with fear. Think about it. In every negotiation, the one with the least to lose dictates the terms. The employer clings to the worker who can leave. The lover chases the partner who shows they can live without them. The friend values the one who does not beg for attention. Walking away does not close doors. It forces others to open them wider, terrified of losing what they cannot control. Most people are too terrified to walk away because they think it means failure. But the truth is that walking away is not abandonment, it is mastery. It is the refusal to kneel before dependency. It is the rejection of invisible chains. Those who stay out of fear become predictable, and predictability is weakness. Those who can leave at will become dangerous because nobody can calculate them, nobody can corner them, and nobody can claim ownership over them. Most people fear being alone more than anything. They drown themselves in noise, in crowds, in constant distraction, because solitude feels like a punishment. But what they don't realize is that solitude is not exile, it is power. The one who can stand alone without fear becomes untouchable. Aloneness is where clarity is born. The crowd clouds the mind with its noise, its demands, its endless pressure to conform. But when you strip away the voices, when you face only yourself, you see things others cannot. Solitude sharpens focus, strengthens will, and reveals truths that the herd is too afraid to confront. Most people avoid being alone because they are terrified of what they will find within themselves. Yet those who embrace it discover independence, and independence is the essence of power. To be alone and unbroken is to carry an authority that no crowd can challenge, because you no longer fear exile and no longer beg for belonging. Most people do everything they can to avoid solitude. They surround themselves with noise, with company, with endless distractions, because silence terrifies them. To be alone forces them to confront their own thoughts, their own weaknesses, their own emptiness. And so they hide in the crowd, convincing themselves that belonging is strength, when in reality it is dependence. They do not understand that solitude is not exile. Solitude is a forge. It is where the mind sharpens, where clarity emerges, where strength is built that the crowd will never possess. When you are surrounded by others, their voices become chains. You inherit their fears, their judgments, their doubts. You are pushed into conformity, into living as they expect, not as you choose. But when you stand alone, no one dictates your path. No one clouds your vision. Alone, you can see the world without filters, without noise, without manipulation. Alone, you hear your own voice clearly, and that voice becomes your compass. The powerful have always known this. They withdraw, not because they hate people, but because they need distance from the illusions of the herd. In silence, they study, they plan, they prepare. They learn to master themselves, and once you master yourself, no one else can master you. To be alone is to discover independence, and independence is the rarest form of strength. Most people mistake solitude for weakness. They believe that being alone makes you less valuable, less important, less human. But the opposite is true. Solitude makes you unbreakable. The one who cannot stand alone is fragile, easily manipulated, always begging for approval. The one who thrives in solitude does not fear exile, does not fear abandonment, does not fear rejection. When you are no longer afraid of being left alone, no one can use loneliness against you. Solitude transforms fear into clarity and dependency into dominance. The crowd will always need the group to feel strong, but the one who has embraced aloneness carries a power that no crowd can grant and no enemy can take away. Impatience is the signature of the weak. Watch closely. Those who rush, who crave instant results, expose their desperation. But the ones who wait, who can hold their fire while others burn themselves out, carry a weapon more dangerous than speed. Patience is not passive. It is the art of silent domination. Most people treat time as their enemy. They cannot endure delay, cannot sit in silence, cannot resist the urge to act too soon, and so they reveal themselves. Impatient, reckless, predictable, but patience is different. Patience bends time into a weapon. It turns waiting into strategy. It allows you to watch, to calculate, to strike at the exact moment when your opponent is most vulnerable. Patience is not idleness. It is control. It is the refusal to be rushed, the refusal to be baited, the refusal to show desperation. And in that stillness lies a power more dangerous than any sudden action. Impatience is the weakness most people cannot hide. Watch how quickly they reveal themselves the moment they are forced to wait. They fidget, they complain, they grow reckless, and in their rush to move forward, they expose every secret, every flaw. They think movement is strength, but movement without calculation is chaos. The impatient man is easy to manipulate because he is ruled by his hunger, and hunger makes him predictable. Patience, on the other hand, is not softness. It is not surrender. It is the most dangerous form of control. When you are patient, you are not simply waiting, you are watching. You study the room, you observe the weaknesses, you calculate the exact moment to strike. Time becomes your weapon, and every second that passes makes you stronger. While your enemy, consumed by urgency, grows weaker. To delay is not to lose. It is to let others lose themselves. The powerful understand that patience is active. It is the art of letting others speak too much, letting others reveal their true intentions, letting others burn their energy until they have nothing left to fight with. When you refuse to be rushed, you do not just control yourself. You control everyone around you. Your calm unsettles them. Your silence pressures them. Your refusal to be baited forces them to make the first mistake. And once they do, the game belongs to you. Most people cannot master patience because they mistake it for passivity. They fear that waiting means they are being left behind. But the truth is, patience is not absence of action. It is the perfection of timing. The arrow that waits longest on the string flies with the deadliest accuracy. The hand that does not move too soon delivers the strike that cannot be dodged. Patience makes your victories decisive, not desperate. The man who can wait has an aura that terrifies those who cannot. He cannot be manipulated, cannot be provoked, cannot be rushed into weakness. He is willing to watch his opponent burn with urgency while he remains still, certain that when the time comes, one move will accomplish what 100 reckless actions never could. Most people live inside illusions. They convince themselves the world is fair, that loyalty lasts, that others mean what they say. But those who see reality as it is, stripped of fantasy, hold a weapon sharper than any blade. This hidden trait grants an unfair edge over everyone still trapped in lies. The rarest power is not charm, not strength, not intelligence. It is clarity. To see the world without distortion, without the masks people wear, without the illusions you tell yourself, is to move through life with precision. Most stumble because they mistake appearances for truth. They trust promises, they believe in fairness, they cling to fantasies that the world will reward them for virtue. But the one who sees reality as it is cannot be deceived, cannot be surprised, and cannot be broken by disappointment. He expects betrayal, so betrayal cannot wound him. He anticipates envy, so envy cannot blindside him. This clarity becomes an unfair advantage, because while others act on illusions, he acts on truth, and truth always wins. The most dangerous advantage you can ever possess is not raw strength, not beauty, not even intelligence. It is the ability to see reality as it truly is. Most people are blind, not because they cannot see, but because they refuse to. They cling to illusions like a drug, convincing themselves the world is fair, that loyalty is permanent, that people will repay kindness with kindness. These illusions comfort them, but comfort is weakness. And when reality finally strikes, it crushes them completely because they never prepared for it. The one who sees reality has no such illusions. He knows that promises are often empty, that loyalty is temporary, that most acts of generosity are transactions disguised as virtue. He does not live bitterly, he lives strategically. While others are shocked when betrayal arrives, he expected it long ago and already has his answer prepared. While others drown in disappointment when fairness fails, he thrives, because he never once believed fairness was guaranteed. His clarity becomes his shield, and his shield makes him untouchable. Look at how easily people are manipulated. They want to believe in goodness, so they trust words over actions. They want to believe in equality, so they pretend the world gives everyone the same chance. They want to believe in loyalty, so they ignore the signs of betrayal until it is too late. But the man who sees clearly cannot be fooled by words, cannot be blinded by hope, cannot be broken by reality. He does not hope, he calculates, he does not dream, he observes, and through observation he finds the truth beneath every mask. This is why clarity is an unfair edge. It is not about knowing more. It is about refusing to lie to yourself. It is about stripping away the illusions that paralyze others and standing in the cold, unfiltered light of reality. To see people not as they wish to appear, but as they are. To see the world not as you want it to be, but as it is. When you move with that kind of vision, you cannot be surprised. You cannot be deceived, and you cannot be controlled. You have now seen what most people spend their lives running from. The dangerous truth about human nature is not wrapped in kindness or fairness. It is raw, selfish, restless, and hungry. This is not something to mourn. It is something to master. Those who deny it remain victims, forever deceived by illusions. Those who embrace it gain the ability to move through the world with clarity, with leverage, with power. Being different makes you unforgettable. Walking away gives you control. Solitude builds unbreakable independence. Patience turns time into a weapon. Clarity grants you an unfair edge, and the acceptance of human nature itself frees you from every illusion. Together, these truths form the hidden laws of survival in a world ruled not by ideals, but by instincts. The choice, as always, is yours. You can live as the crowd lives, blind, dependent, desperate. Or you can step into the darker truth and wield it as your advantage. The world does not reward those who are merely good. It rewards those who are prepared, those who are clear-eyed, those who are willing to use the truths others are too afraid to face. And in the end, it is only those people who rise while the rest remain ruled, never knowing why.